Johnny Harris, there we go, is in the CIA. Look at this video.
Mike. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. But your name on a star. Changing your ways.
He's in the CIA, guys. Like CIA, State Department, NSA, DIA, whatever. He is a spook. He's a spy. This is an intentional influence operation.
This is every military submarine on Earth, at least the ones we know about. I've separated them out by each country. Whoever rules the waves rules the world is a saying that rings especially true in recent years, as global power dynamics are shifting before our eyes. Submarines represent ocean power. So today, let's look at the 471 known military submarines and which countries they belong to, both big.
His father-in-law is the captain of a nuclear attack sub?
Small. I want to do this so that we can see how countries use these vessels not only to protect their country, but also to project power.
Why is he showing China? Iran.
See how countries use these vessels not only to protect their country, but also to project power.
Look how it's growing with tentacles, chat.
Project power. Of the 43 countries that have subs, most just have small fleets, less than a dozen. By the way, experts argue about these numbers. If you want to see our methodology here, you can go to our sources, link in the description, to explore country by country how we got these numbers and specs. And yes, these submarines are to scale. These smaller countries want submarines for slightly different reasons than the big countries. For these small navies, having even one submarine is a major level up, because submarines are designed to be invisible, to lurk and spy, and be ready to attack at any moment. Their great advantage is that your enemy has no idea where they are, so they have to assume that they could be anywhere. These submarines are also much smaller than the ones we'll see later on when we get to the big navies. And almost all of them have a massive limitation, which is that they're powered by dsaL engines that need oxygen to run. This means that the submarine has to go to the surface every so often.
With the exception of Spain and Sweden that both have submarines with air-dependent propulsion, allowing them to operate without oxygen.
Run these loud engines to charge the batteries on the sub before diving back down again.
Yeah, but the thing about the batteries is, like, the thing about the charging is it's only loud while you're doing that. But when you're not doing that, they're actually quieter.
This makes these submarines less effective than nuclear-powered submarines that we'll see later. These submarines could stay underwater basically forever. That is, if they didn't have humans aboard that needed to come to the surface for food supplies. I made a whole video about the fascinating technology and history of submarines, but let's keep going.
There's Azure Travaillon.
Hey, I know this visual is very satisfying.
Strategic.
Which, I mean, honestly, all subs are, you know, you're trying to get torpedoes within range of your enemy. Like, you know, they don't need to be that big.
The submarines in these smaller navies are meant to patrol and protect a country's coastal waters, the ocean close by, making anyone think twice before attacking that country.
So NordVPN is CIA? I mean, I wouldn't depend upon it for anything I was trying to keep secret from the CIA, that's for sure. PNs. My A school instructor was an FT on a sub, and he said that there was a specific door of the sub that was set in a wall that touched the walls of the sub. So if they let the door handle click close, the sound could be detected from 60 miles away. They should have just gotten rid of that door.
Though we're arriving at a bit of an exception to this.
Yeah, because sound travels much faster in water than it does air.
Israel currently has 5 very modern submarines, 2 of which can stay underwater for up to a week without needing to take in oxygen, making them stealthier than the older dsaL models, and allowing them to travel up to 4,500 kilometers. And while all of the subs we've seen so far carry smaller weapons like torpedoes, or anti-ship missiles or mines, Israel's submarines can shoot missiles loaded with nuclear warheads. At least that's what
I wonder how they got those subs.
US government believes and has said, even though Israel denies all of this. Israel uses these submarines as defense against the many enemies they have in their region, like Iran, hoping that these nuclear-armed submarines would make Iran think twice before ever striking Israel first. By the way, those Israeli submarines are being purchased from Germany, a country that is coming up here soon. Germany has 6 super powerful long-range submarines of their own, but they also build and export submarines all over the world.
Which is actually which is better than having submarines. Building and then selling them abroad is actually better than having them, because if they ever actually do get into a situation where they might have a war, they could just take the subs they were building from someone else and take them for themselves, and then they have the capability to continue to build more.
Here we have Australia, which has a relatively small fleet of dsaL submarines. But this is going to change soon. Thanks to a historic deal with the UK and US, Australia will soon have super advanced nuclear-powered submarines.
That's so stupid!
They're buying this from the United States.
Why? I mean, the answer is we're just stealing your tax dollars, Australians.
This is all a part of the US's effort of arming and strengthening its alliances in China's neighborhood.
Oh, in China's neighborhood, you don't say.
By the way, this is where you'll start to see us moving into more powerful navies. These navies use their submarines not just to protect their coastline and coastal waters, but to project power in their region. So you'll start to see bigger and more advanced dsaL submarines, but we'll also start to see submarines that run on nuclear energy, like these French and British subs. These submarines have a nuclear reactor on board that breaks apart atoms and creates an immense amount of energy that heats up water.
The thing about the nuclear reactors is they're loud. They're much louder than the diesel electric subs. So oftentimes these nuclear powered subs are actually easier to detect. Even though they could stay under the water longer, they're easier to detect in a tactical situation than a diesel electric sub that is just running off electric power.
Powers the submarine. It could do this basically forever, without having to go to the surface for air. This process also makes oxygen and drinkable water for the sailors. Having a nuclear reactor on board is a game changer for subs, because it allows them to silently patrol the seas, traveling long distances and projecting power to regions that are important to them. Here come the fleets of Greece and Turkey. They have a similar number of subs.
Australian subs are controlled by U.S. crews and stored on U.S. bases. Great deal, Australia. Wait a minute, they have U.S. crews? What? So they're just American subs then? No shot, right? No, they're training. They're training Australians, right? No. There's no way.
Because both countries see securing their water as very important. And
the Greece and Turkey, oh my God. Greece and Turkey, you're the same thing. You're literally the same thing. You've been interbreeding and fucking for fucking millennia. You're the same fucking thing. Stop pretending like you're different. You're the same. You're the exact same.
While they don't have nuclear power plants on board, both countries have subs that don't require as much oxygen as typical dsaL subs, allowing them to stay underwater for much longer.
They're training engineers, at least. My brother works for a company that's doing that. That's what he told me. Oh, U.S. nuclear subs have their reactor suspended on vibration-resistant rubber support, so the noise doesn't escape the sub. The noise escapes the sub, dude. My friend worked in defense. He now deeply regrets it. He said ICBMs aren't even necessary for any coastal targets, just detonating a nuke underwater nearby and using boom man-made tidal wave. I think there is a weapon related to that, but I don't think that is actually... I think the Russians developed that, but I don't think that's actually true.
This is also where you start to see submarines that are equipped with the most powerful weapons of all. India currently has at least 2 submarines that, as far as we know, are not only powered by nuclear energy, but can also launch rockets with nuclear warheads on them. They have a range of around 700 kilometers.
These are called boomers, chat.
And they're working on 2 more, which could potentially increase that range to more like 3,500 kilometers. They're also planning to build a fleet of at least 6 modern attack submarines that are quicker and that are meant to accompany and support these nuclear-armed subs. Though it's hard to know the full picture because a lot of the details from the Indian Army are kept secret. If you want, you can look at my sources for more details on this reporting. Here comes Iran. They don't have nuclear capabilities on their submarines, but they do have a lot of subs. These 4 big dsaL-powered submarines and at least 15 of these mini subs. They use these to patrol their coastal waters, through which a lot of valuable oil flows. We've got 6 countries left, and this is where things get really big, really fast.
Yeah, this is where the warmongers are.
Here are 2 countries that have a lot in common. Both are high-tech economies, both are close friends with the United States, both are deeply reliant on the ocean.
Close friends,
and crucially, both countries are surrounded by rival countries with strong navies. One of those neighbors is the Hermit Kingdom of North Korea.
Yeah, the Hermit Kingdom. That's what it is. They're hermits. They're not sanctioned and isolated. They're hermits.
Korea's fleet is, for obvious reasons. Experts think they could have as many as 85 submarines, but here I'm going to visualize a more conservative estimate of 36 submarines. A lot of this info is gleaned by satellite imagery on naval bases like this one. But regardless of the specific number, we do know that it's a pretty big submarine fleet. It rivals some of the great powers, at least in terms of numbers. But experts disagree about how functional all of these subs really are. Some of these boats are at least 50 years old. It has around 8 diesel subs capable of long-range patrols. And then they have these 2. They're diesel powered, and even though they can't stay underwater for more than just a few days, they do have the ability to shoot 4 ballistic missiles armed with nuclear warheads.
Oh, is that true?
With a likely range that could easily reach Japan or
I didn't
even
know they had nuclear.
Guam and
nuclear
Hawaii,
subs.
a part of the United States.
Hey guys, Guam is part of the United States. You never heard of it, bro?
Now we're moving into the big 3 navies, the countries that use their subs to project power at each other and around the world. China has 58 submarines. 6 of these subs are capable of firing rockets with nuclear weapons, and 6 more are attack submarines powered by nuclear energy. But the majority of China's submarines are still the older diesel-powered kind.
Well, the thing with the diesel-powered subs is if you're a defensive military, they're actually really good and cost-effective. You're not doing long-ranging patrols into the deep blue, so you're trying to get a tactical advantage in defensive operations. And as I said, the electric submarine, the battery part, the electric part is actually really quiet and tactically advantageous. So, if you're doing defensive operations, they're actually very good and they don't cost that much. Whereas building a fucking nuclear reactor is expensive.
But not for long. What China's rivals see when they look at this fleet is more like this. In the next 6 years, China's fleet will include at least 5 new nuclear-powered subs. 2 of them are going to be able to launch ballistic missiles with nuclear weapons on them, and 3 of them will be able to launch cruise missiles. They're even getting Russia's help to build a new, extra-quiet, extra-stealthy ballistic missile sub that the US is worried about because it'll be nearly impossible for them to track. They're doing this in part as a response to the US selling this submarine.
Wait a minute! He accidentally admitted it. Whoopsie. He accidentally admitted it. They're doing it as a response. The U.S. selling. Oh, wait, you're supposed to say they're doing it. Therefore, Australia needed to get it. Whoopsie doopsie daisy. You missed. You slipped up. CIA, you accidentally told the truth.
Technology to Australia, but it's also a part of China's bigger goal of being a global superpower like the US, who can project power to every ocean in the world.
It's part of China's goal to be a superpower that can project power all over the world. Look how scary and red everything is. Look at the tentacles. But in reality, it is to make sure they don't get bottled up on their coasts by, the United States building military bases all along these island chains, and so they could sanction China.
This will be difficult for them, first and foremost because the US and its allies have created a chain of military installations here in the Pacific.
Wow, that doesn't sound very nice.
This allows them to track Chinese submarines trying to leave the region. But it will also be difficult because China lags quite a bit behind the US when it comes to creating stealthy submarines. It's a gap that they are working hard to close. Russia has the second largest fleet, 62 submarines in total. We've just made a massive leap. This fleet is a huge step up from China's. Half of the fleet is powered by nuclear energy, and 12 of these subs can launch nuclear weapons, something that they remind the world of by conducting these tests that show off their subs launching these rockets, obviously without the nukes on board. These other subs are attack submarines, which are quick, hard to track.
China is the only country with no first strike nuclear rule. Yeah.
They can launch missiles.
They yelled at Corbyn because he wanted to do the same rule that the UK would never strike first with nuclear weapons.
With a range of 600.
So the BBC spent like an excessive amount of time going, "Would you nuke us? Would you nuke back if we were nuked? Would you nuke first?" If it was actually a story. And my personal opinion is, if you're running for office and somebody's asking you those dumbass fucking questions, you know what you say? You would say, "I would protect our country. I would use nukes if the situation required it." And then inside your head, you go, "The situation would never require it."
And able to hit a land-based target on the east coast of the United States.
Because everybody's like, they want to imply that you would allow your country to be nuked. It's like some of the dumbest ass, like, it's pea brain shit.
If they were here in the Atlantic Ocean. And this gets to a really important use of submarines at this level, their ability to lurk around the globe. Russia quietly sends its nuclear-armed subs to key regions that puts their enemies and rivals in range. It's a part of their nuclear deterrent, the threat that if they are attacked, they have the capability to strike back with nukes, and no one can know exactly from where. In recent years, Russia shocked the world by unveiling this long-range nuclear-powered torpedo called Poseidon. It can travel 185 kilometers an hour underwater, and it can hit targets as far away as 1,000 kilometers. Oh, and it apparently carries a 100 megaton nuclear warhead that can create a radioactive tsunami. We're not 100% sure how much of this is real and how much is Russian propaganda, but it just goes to show you how crazy our advanced technology is becoming here. Okay, we've made it to number 1, the United States, which unambiguously is the most powerful submarine force in the world. Not just by
This is why you don't have healthcare.
Numbers, but by capability. All 68 of these subs are powered by nuclear energy. Most of these are attack submarines, which are smaller and quicker.
Why are we playing happy piano music?
They're meant for battle with their torpedoes and sea mines and shorter range weapons. Like these 4 submarines can each be loaded up with 154 cruise missiles that have a range of 1,000 kilometers and are very precise. Then we get to these 14 subs, which are huge. You can really see it when you look at them out of the water. These submarines can carry up to 24 missiles, each of them capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads. These things can travel up to 12,000 kilometers, which is nearly a third the Earth's circumference. And at any given moment, 8 of these are lurking around the world's oceans, carrying some 720 nuclear warheads between them, and no one knows where, and that's the whole point. They are a foundational part of the US's nuclear deterrent, a constant reminder that attacking the US could easily provoke a response from one of these hidden subs. This is what controlling the ocean really looks like. And it's one of the ways that the US has maintained its place as the most powerful country on Earth. To keep this position, in 2020, the US started building 12 new massive submarines to replace these 14 aging
You do not get trains in the United States, but you'll get 12 more multi-billion-dollar nuclear submarines that, the best case scenario, never get used ever. It is just a waste of money. So it's just a waste of $1 trillion. Best case scenario.
Your armed subs. They will be completed in 2042. So, those are the world's submarines, and a little bit about their strategic application. There's so much more to cover about
many Americans look at that and are like,
naval
yeah,
strategy.
hell yeah, brother.
So please tell me what questions you have, or what else I should cover on this topic in the future. Thanks for watching.
You should cover where their weak points are, and, you know, you should cover, like, what if a small bomb went off at this joint, it would cause catastrophic you should go over that. That would be interesting to know. China bad, Russia bad, USCA is keeping peace. Yeah, this is just CIA shit. This is just a CIA video. Saying that non-nuclear submarines are noisy and need to service is outdated. Spain has fully modern submarines with an AIP system that runs on bioethanol and batteries without the need for oxygen. It's a silent system with 3-week apnea. The system is desired by countries such as Canada, Australia, and India. There was a small asterisk at the bottom of the video outlining Spain and Sweden as the exceptions. It's crazy to think that today there are less than 500 submarines worldwide. During World War II, Germany alone built over 1,100. Yeah, but those were shit. They were shit.
She has no idea who Mike is.
Mike. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. But you may want to start changing your ways. Change your ways. We're changing your